she was very sweet and soft and very tiny, this little woman, and maybe kind of boring at sometimes. And then sometimes she would like cry and laugh at the same time in the classroom, and we thought it was a bit weird. And then we got to know that she was part of a dance group, like an experimental dance group, and she would like stand on stage like for 2 hours, like being an apple or something like that. And then at some point, like she became really interesting in that ways that her soft and sweet and kind of normal side became really interesting because of that, because she would be like at some point we thought one day she would grab a machine gun and shoot at us in the classroom. And I think you are kind of the same, like I mean your music is kind of the same, reminds me of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
They could take or leave you, so they took you and they left you. How could maybe casually
Off stage, I'm a fairly composed person and pretty together and easygoing, actually. Pretty quiet, but on stage and musically, like it's I get to kind of have an outlet for everything, you know, but most specifically anger, because I don't often just, you know, get angry in my day-to-day life. And I've always been really fascinated with these characters, like your American suburban 50s and 60s housewife. Back in those days, you just had to complain of a headache and they would go in and, you know, stuff you with barbiturates and white wine, you know, and I've always been really kind of fascinated by that, this sort of like woozy, depressed, repressed, you know, woman, kept woman.
save me, save me, save me from what I want. Save me, save me, save me from what I want.
I've always tried to make, I guess what you'd call pop songs with fangs, like take something that's very conventional and then put it right next to something that's kind of abrasive or something a little bit out there or avant-garde, and find that space in the middle where a pop song can kind of still have life and still be unpredictable. I do have training, like I am a trained musician in some ways, but I still don't approach music. Like I kind of forgot that stuff when I sit to write or kind of approach things. I kind of am just oftentimes going after like a literal vision, like, oh, what does this look like? What are the colors of this piece of music? I know this sounds like potentially really pretentious and abstract, but and I even on my second record was watching films and trying to rescore them. So I like to think that they, you know, they kind of take on the color of the film, especially Technicolor. I tend to think musically in terms of Technicolor a lot, like, oh, we should have a little Technicolor thing come in, and then, you know, something like ratty and wiry and, you know, gross and distorted, you know.
Best friend is Sergeant, come cut me open. Best friend is Sergeant, come cut me open. Best friend is Sergeant, come cut me open. Best friend is Sergeant, come cut me open.
my uncle is an amazing jazz guitar player, and so I always had him to kind of like look up to and go, oh, I can do music. I remember being about 5 years old and getting a plastic guitar from Target, and I remember just playing that, you know, all the time. But then I got a real guitar when I was 12, and I think the first thing I did was, I was a big Neil Young fan, and I think I learned Keep on Rockin' in the Free World off of Ragged Glory, which is a lovely album. It's a very good album. But then I got, like, just instantly, I just started writing my own songs, and I just was obsessed with it, you know? Just totally obsessed with it. And I still am, actually. It still goes, you know, like anything you love, it kind of goes in waves, and you kind of get more interested in things, technology here or other instruments, but I've come back to the guitar and been like, wow, so awesome. It's my favorite thing. What do I bring to the table? Oh man, that's such a that's a funny question. It's a funny question. I'll tell you why. Because if you answer like really, you know, any way you answer, it's either going to be self-aggrandizing or like really self-effacing. You're like, why do people like you? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why.